Do you notice anything about the terms? So, yes, I have a negative and positive. How about the x's? They're the same, right? They have the same coefficient, right? They're both 3x, okay? The other one is minus 4y and then plus 7y, and the other one is 14 and negative 8. So if I want to eliminate one of the letters, I'd probably be able to eliminate the x because both of them have the same coefficient. If I want to eliminate something, I either subtract or I add. In this case, what do I do? Subtract. Because when you do 3x minus 3x, you get 0x, which we don't write it anymore. So we look at the term, at the letter or the variable that has the same coefficient, and we decide if we're going to subtract or add. In this case, because they have the same sign, I have to subtract. So when I subtract, what do I get? What's 3x minus 3x? 0x. I don't need to write it. They eliminate. Okay? Then I have minus 4y subtract 7y. They're both negative, right? So it's a negative 4y, and you're subtracting 7y. So you have this. What is it? Negative 11y. Because you're 4 below the ground, and then you're going down 7 more. Okay? So you have a minus. It's that minus right here affects this plus. Minus times positive gives me a negative. That's why this becomes a negative. Okay? So that negative is affecting that positive as well. So that's why this is negative 4y minus 7y. Yes. That negative affects the entire equation. Yes. If you're adding or subtracting, you're affecting the whole equation. Okay? So if you're subtracting equation 1 from equation 2 from equation 1. So you're going to do 3x minus 3x. Then you're going to do negative 4y minus 7y. Then you're going to do 14 minus negative 8. So you're going to minus the whole thing. Okay? So what's negative 4 minus 7y? Negative 11y. Oops. Okay? Now, 14 minus negative 8 equals to plus 22, right? Because that will be 14 minus negative makes it a positive, right? So it's 14 plus 8, which is 22. Now, do you notice that I only have one letter left? Yeah? I don't have the x anymore. So if I want to solve for that letter that's left, in this case, solve for the y, what do I do? Divide by negative 11, right? So you're going to divide by negative 11 to get rid of that negative 11. Right? So that's going to be negative 2. So I found the y of my point. Remember that I have 2 lines, and I'm looking for the point of intersection. Okay? So that means I'm looking for the x variable and for the y variable. Since I found y, how can I find x? Plug in y into one of the 2 equations. Doesn't matter which one. No, it does not. Pick whatever you want. Okay? So in this case, I'm going to plug it into the first one. So technically, when you're plugging in, you're going to kind of pick the easier one to plug in. In this case, they're both the same. There is no easy and there is no hard one. So that's why I'm picking the first one. So I have 3x minus 4y equals to 14, sorry. So all what I have to do is I have to replace y, which is negative 2, right? I replace that y with a negative 2. So I have 3x. What's negative 2 times negative 4? Positive 8. So I have 3x plus 8 equals 14. Now my job is to isolate for the x. Okay? So I'm going to have to bring the 8 over first. So that becomes minus 8. So that's going to be 6. And then divide by 3. So x equals 2. Are we okay with this? So now, in order for me to be able to identify if actually I got the right thing, I have to substitute whatever I just got, the y and the x, into my equation, and then check my work by doing the left side equals to the right side. Can I go to the next page? So, you guys have to remind me, what were my equations? 3x minus 4y equals 14. And then my second one was 3x. Okay. And then the answers that I got, x equals 2 and y equals negative 2. Okay? So what I have to do is I have to plug in the x and the y into the equation. So I take the first equation and I plug in 2 for x, negative 2 for the y. So that's going to be 6 plus 8. What's 6 plus 8? It's 14, right? So the left side equals to the right side. So I've got the right answer compared to this one. I have to check my second equation to make sure that it's true in the second one as well. So I write my equation. 3 times 2 plus 7 times negative 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 times negative 2, that's negative 14. What's 6 minus 14? Negative 8. Right? So that again tells me that the left side is equal to the right side, which means that my solution is correct. And my point of interest is, is 2, negative 2. Okay? So in this case, I'm looking for a letter, one of the letters, to have the same coefficient as the other one so I can eliminate it. Okay? Yesterday we were looking for the variable that has a 1 in front of it so we can isolate for it. You remember that from yesterday? Today we're looking for the letter that have common coefficient. So let's look at the second example. So in the next example, do you see any letters that have the same coefficient? The next example? Okay? So I have x plus 2y equals 9, and negative 2y plus 4x equals to negative 4. So which variable would have the same coefficient? Let's first write them down under each other. Okay? So if I'm going to write the first one as x plus 2y equals to 9. What do I have to write under the x? 4x, because they have to have the same term, right? So I'm going to write 4x, and then minus 2y equals negative 4. Okay? I can write them as 4x minus 2y or minus 2y plus 4x. Because they're on the same side of the equality, I can interchange them. That's fine. Now, let's look at the x. Do they have the same coefficient? They don't, right? So I can't cancel that one. How about the 2y and the negative 2y? Is it the same coefficient? Yes, but one is positive, the other one is negative. Now, if I want to cancel these, what do? You add them, right? Because one is positive, the other one is negative. All what it takes is I add 2y plus minus 2y, that's gone, right? So it's 0. So the case where you have your coefficients are opposite sign, right? Then all what you need to do is add. So if I add this, so x plus 4x, 5x. 2y plus negative 2y, 0. So I don't have to write this. 9 plus negative 4. 9 plus negative 4, so that's 5. And then what do I do to get rid of the, actually, that's it. I stop right here. Now, you see that I have x by itself, right? There's no more y's. What do I do to isolate for that x, to solve for it? Divide by 5. You want to get rid of that 5. So if I divide by 5, then x equals to 5 divided by 5 is, we have 5 chocolate, 5 people. How many would each get? 1. So when you divide something by itself, you get 1.
So positive and negative is positive?
If you're multiplying, if you're adding. So this one, when you do this one, 9 plus minus 4. So 2y plus negative 2y. So 2y plus negative 2y. Positive and negative makes it negative. So what's 2y minus 2y? So that plus and minus, the positive and the negative, makes it negative. And that's why we're adding, because if we're subtracting, it's going to become 2y minus. If we're subtracting, it's going to become like this. What's 2y minus negative 2y? That becomes plus. So what's 2y plus 2y? 4y. So it doesn't eliminate. That's why we're doing positive and not negative. That's why we're adding and not subtracting. Okay, now I figured out that x equals to 1. What else do I have to look for? Y. And how can I find y? Substitute x into one of these equations. Which one would you pick? Huh? I pick the first one too, because in this case, I think it's easier. X doesn't have anything. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter which one you pick. It should give you the same answer. So if I have x plus 2y equals to 9, I'm going to replace x with 1. So that's going to be 1 plus 2y equals to 9. What do I do now? Bring the 1 over. What does it become when I bring the 1 over? -1. So it's 2y equals 9 minus 1. So that's 2y equals 8. Then divide by 2 to get the y by itself. So y equals 4. So in this case, I found both my answers that I need. So I have point x, which is x equals to 1, and y equals to 4. And then you're going to have to check your work by plugging in the x and the y into each equation and find if the left side is equal to the right side. So my equations are x okay. So, and then x equals to 1 and y equals to 4. Okay? So I have to plug in x equals 1, y equals 4. So 1 plus 8 is equal to 9, right? And that means left side equal to the right side. Are you guys okay with that?
1 plus 2, what is that, brackets 4?
Yeah, because y is 4. Are you okay with that? Now I have to do the same thing with the second equation. So the second equation is 4x minus 2y equals -4. What am I replacing x by with? 1. So it's 4 times 1 minus what I'm replacing y with? 4. 4 times 1 minus 2 times 4 is -8, right? Remember, BEDMAS says that I have to do the multiplication before I do the subtraction. That's why I'm doing the 4 times the 1 first and then the 2 times the 4. Okay? Now I can do 4 minus 8, which is -4. And then that proves that my left side is equal to my right side. And that means my point is, what's my point? 1, 4. So elimination can be done when at least one of your variables, not at least, when one of your variables have the same coefficient, or it could be the same coefficient with a minus. Okay? So if they have the same coefficient, then you subtract. If you have opposite coefficient, opposite sign, then you're going to add the two equations. Is that clear? That's opposite sign.